This has been a long time coming. This project started 4.5 years ago at Block. Um, and really the genesis there, like why did Block get into mining? Block started doing a lot more analysis of like the energy consumption of mining. I mean, the actual real genesis is that Block needed to do like a carbon report for shareholders. And Max kind of knows this because he was part of this early Genesis project. So there's internal folks who didn't know anything about Bitcoin mining, needed to understand what's the carbon footprint of the company, and there's like already a playbook for everything but Bitcoin that any corporation can use. So that was pretty straightforward. But for Bitcoin, it's really hard to measure. There's different accounting methods. So they asked me to help out with that. So I helped with that. And I already understood mining, I thought, quite well at that point. But it turns out I didn't. Like I certainly had passed the 101 course, but I learned that I needed to take the graduate level courses. So I went down the mining rabbit hole much deeper. And instead of coming away with like fears of ruining the environment, I came away with seeing, oh, you can make a lot of money in mining. And certainly,
Wait a minute, but those aren't always exclusive.
well,
we may destroy the environment, but we can also make a lot of money.
The environment as well. But I don't think I think we've. Well, actually, I mean,
but my guess is you're not swayed by just the opportunity to make money. There's more to it than just that, I would guess.
Well, number one, you can make a lot of money, especially if you sell picks and shovels. And in this case, ASIC chips and rigs. And then, secondly, another thing that was happening, this is during the bull market of 2020, 2021. And usually with a bull market comes concerns over energy usage and environmental impact. So that's where, Max and I already known each other for, 3 or 4 years, but we roped Max into helping us out writing a paper. And that was, you probably remember the exact title, but like a clean and abundant energy world, something like that. But
future, Bitcoin is key to a clean and abundant energy future.
Thank you. So anyway, there's just a lot more mental energy expended on Bitcoin mining. And it is a combination of both, great business opportunity. Secondly, a weakness in Bitcoin's decentralization theme is that there's like sort of one game in town for chips, and that's Bitmain. If you expand it a little bit, it's Bitmain and MicroBT, but two Chinese companies. So there's a big centralizing factor that's a risk and concern for Bitcoin. Even if those two companies are good actors, they're both Chinese. So like the Chinese government could just like cut them off, or the United States adds crazy tariffs or whatever. All these geopolitical events. So that's a risk to Bitcoin. And then third, like even more than before, I was convinced that it's not some environmental disaster. Like I felt like it was like, I felt like ethical proceeding to work in Bitcoin and promote Bitcoin and do, use proof of work. So that anyway, that then the company, the company agreed and started working on this project. It's been a long haul. It's 4.5 years later. But the great news is finally had a launch event this week. I thought it went really, really well. So proud of all the people on that team that work on it. Just so listeners know, I run Spiral. I work on open source stuff. So like there's an entire commercial team at Block that did all the hard effort to build this and make it a reality. So what was announced? I think, the company's been very open and transparent about the project from the beginning. So I think people already knew that, we're going to design our own chip. Block is going to open source the software, the firmware, as much of the hardware designs as possible. That's sort of already been known. And there's even Block announced a customer earlier this year, Core Scientific. And that's actually, why was I in rural Georgia? Well, the event was hosted at a Core Scientific Bitcoin mining industrial scale site. So that's why we were there. But what was revealed that was new, number one, is a rig, not just a chip, but it was the first reveal of Block's Proto's rig, and they called it Rig. So it's very, very succinct name. They also announced their software for fleet management, and it's called Fleet. Also very succinct name. So they announced Rig and Fleet. Rig is a novel design, like an industrial design and mechanical engineering design. They're able to fit 50% more mining hash rate in the same like linear footage of what a standard rack is. So that's novel. They made it hot-swappable, so it's way easier to repair, and perhaps even more importantly than that, current miners, you have to, if one part goes bad, like if a power supply fails or a fan fails, you typically have to like replace, or certainly if a chip or hashboard fails, you have to replace the entire unit and like, e-cycle the whole thing. But with the new rig design, you can just take out one of the 9 hashboards and hot swap and replace it. If a fan goes bad, you just replace the fan. And they've designed it so you can do that replacement and that repair work very, very quickly. So there's a lot of wins, I think, with the industrial design, mechanical design. And then the chip itself, they announced some performance metrics, which they had not done previously. And it's super exciting to see that it's like very competitive with the best of the best. Bitmain's always been the best on this particular measure, the like joules per terahash, like how much performance do you get for every watt of energy? And there's never been anyone really threatening Bitmain on that metric for the past 10 plus years. And Proto's performance that they announced is definitely in the ballpark of the best performing Bitmain chip. And I think that bodes well for the future as well. And one interesting thing about the rig design too, if a new chip and hashboard does come out, say 6, 12, 18 months later, you don't have to replace your entire thing. You just replace the hashboard, put it in the new hashboard, and it's a much more economical upgrade. So that's the hardware. I probably forgot a few things. You guys can ask questions. But then on the fleet management software, I think that's really interesting too. The mining industry's known for having really low quality software. Third-party software is pretty low quality. Often it's done in-house, and then you get a mishmash of stuff. And the fleet management software from Proto looks professional. Basically, both the hardware and the software looks like it's designed from people who built Square and Cash App, and it's because
nice.
and guess what? It's because literally people that have been working at the company for 5, 8, 10 years that have worked on Square for a long time. A lot of them did work on Proto, and I think it showed through in yesterday's reveal.
And did you say that Fleet is fully open source?
It's fully open source. It also works on other equipment, so it works with Bitmain.
Mm-hmm.
So so I mean, this is kind of interesting, right? If you're a miner and you've got like tens of thousands of Bitmain machines, if you like the Fleet software, you can just use it for free. You don't even have to buy Proto equipment. so you don't even have to have a customer relationship with Proto. You just download the Fleet software, and there's a good chance that's a better experience to manage your fleet. And then if you do have equipment from a variety of vendors, you're able to really nicely compare the performance of each as well.
Yeah. Now, my understanding on the rig is like traditionally the rig and chip are all bundled, and that they might have a typical lifespan of like 3 years or so, and that some of the unbundling here is that there's a deeper investment in the rig, so it's designed to maybe last for 10 years or more. Is that like a major point of why people should be caring about this configuration?
Yeah, and there's really two aspects to that point. One is that Block will sell the chip alone, and that's not done by Bitmain or the other major vendors. Now, existing industrial miners, the way they operate today, that might not be of interest to them. They just want to buy rigs and deploy them as cheaply and quickly as possible. But there's definitely mining companies and potentially startups too that have an idea for a new type of application, a new industrial design, a new electrical design, new mechanical design, in which they don't want to just take Proto's rig and form factor or someone else's and deploy that. So they can just buy the chip and do their own design. So that's one aspect. But then I think more to what you're pointing to is that with Proto's rig, yeah, it's a very different framing and positioning to miners. Any miner that's really playing the long game, they intend to be around for more than 3 years. It's a pretty interesting value proposition to buy this equipment that is intended to last 10 plus years. And then you can just naturally upgrade the ASICs as they, there's an expectation that ASICs are going to keep improving rapidly. But that's all you have to upgrade. Like the fans, the power supplies, all the other components, they're not going to need to be upgraded over the next 10 years.
Do we have a sense of what the kind of typical capex cost is on rig versus chip? It gets bundled, I think, when you buy it from Bitmain, but is the rig like 20% of the overall cost and the chip is 80%, or is it like, do we have much sense of what that is? Because that might also help us build an intuition around why it's important for the rig to last so long.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a specific number, but I think your guess there is probably roughly right. I mean, it's definitely true. The ASIC chips are the highest cost component. A rig typically has, in general, a rig typically has like 300 ASICs or 400 ASICs in a rig. Proto's rig might have even more because there's more hash power per linear foot. But there's hundreds and hundreds of these chips. So I think the 80-20 ratio is like a ballpark correct.
So as a miner,
but still, like not having to replace the 20% cost is a win. Yeah. I mean, is a big win, right? I mean, mining is a game of small margins, or it certainly is going to wind up that way. So a 20% win over some period of time is significant. Also, you typically have to pay money to get rid of this equipment. So you don't want to have to get rid of this equipment. You don't want to be contributing waste to the world and have to pay that cost. So there's a win there as well.
Right.
Yeah. I really like the analogy actually Keon made on Stacker News of comparing this to Framework Computer. Are you guys familiar with that company?
I haven't seen it, no.
Very cool company. I forget if they spun out of, maybe it was Meta or, although I guess more of an Apple type approach, but or an Apple type aesthetic with a more modular approach. But they basically allow you, it's a privacy focused computer, but you can basically pop in and out whatever you want. So if you want to upgrade your RAM, you can constantly do that. I imagine that's also a possibility. I don't know exactly how this would work, but if someone maybe started with less capex from day one, but maybe in the future they're doing really well and they want to upgrade and add a bunch more chips. This probably makes it a lot easier to add future chips to the rigs or more rigs to the area, and also probably better plan like the actual physical space that you're building in. If these are the rigs that are going to be there for 10 years or something like that. So I like that modularity, and I mean it also fits really well with the whole Bitcoin open source transparent ethos of plug and play.
Yeah, I like the modularity a lot. I wonder do we have an intuition that we can start building around how that modularity will impact the market? So we could say, certainly, you can swap things out, you probably operate more efficiently, but I would guess there's also a play that's going to enable maybe a new type of miner or a new type of kind of competition in mining to emerge. And, maybe somebody wants to compete very deeply at one layer and sort of modularize commoditize the complement or work sort of above or below them. And I wonder, my understanding is Bitmain is extremely full stack, not only the rig and the chip, but sometimes financing and which pool you have to be a part of. And there's all kinds of like other requirements that kind of strengthen their kind of sort of defend their position. And I think this being everything open source and all modular sort of doesn't have that. But I wonder how like what else around like financing or kind of the modularity might enable a very new type of competitor, or how much is this existing miners are going to get much more efficient?
Well, to address one point, I think, it's true that Bitmain, has AMP pool and has most portions of a full stack, but they don't require it. Obviously, like their Foundry has 30% hash rate or whatever, and there's lots of Bitmain machines on Foundry. But yeah, block starting with a few of those components, there's obviously potential for more. Block has been a lending business for a long time, so that would potentially be a natural fit in the future. Potentially running like a mining pool, and there's lots of different angles there.
What I get most excited about is the ability for entrepreneurs, and maybe not with this first gen, but eventually to experiment with just new form factors for mining. So the first one that comes to mind for me that I would love to see is, if you think in the long run where mining is going, perhaps the big HPC AI compute takes like the really, really, really big scale farms, and that's where that ends up. But mining, becomes more and more of the bottom feeder at the edges of things. And so one area I fully expect to see this is, distributed solar. Within the inverter of a solar panel, someone is going to put an ASIC once it's cheap enough to do that. Maybe it's, the older ones first. And that's going to be a phenomenal new form factor for mining. When people are mining, they don't even think about it. It's just when I get solar installed in my house, which now in California is like a requirement, I think, for new houses. There's just a Bitcoin miner in there. And I just know that there's this little chip that has the option, or I don't even know about. There's some software, maybe Square writes it, or Tesla, or whatever startup ends up bringing this to market. And I just know my bills are lower. I just happen to make a little extra money every month. Those are the kinds of things that the modularity gets me most excited about.
Yep. And the open, so David, you listed a bunch of things Bitmain does. So sure, Proto could copy all those and it might make sense. But the open platform selling the chips, I think that's one thing that would be very new here, right? Opening up a whole ecosystem of new mining applications that weren't really possible or practical before.
Did we get any sense, Steve, in the announcement on the actual cost? Like if someone wanted to start running these numbers and looking at, the solar inverter model to get a sense of, is that economical today or not?
You can contact sales to learn more. I think, that is the literal answer.
Yeah.
I think, because I think the initial customers, this product is for industrial mining, right? And that's a short list of customers. So I'm pretty sure the team and the sales team at Proto are already in touch with all these potential customers, talking to them. I think, my take on this is the marketing of Rig it's not really retail. And then as far as customers who do buy it, it really depends on how they customize it. There's many different configurations, and also with mining chips in general, you can tune them different ways. The joules per terahash number is always the one that gets the limelight and is the one that's sort of marketed heavily, and it's an important metric. But so is like the area efficiency, or basically like dollars, terahash per dollars, or either or dollars per terahash, and that matters as well, and a bunch of other factors. So you can tune the chip to optimize for one or the other. There's trade-offs there. So different applications are going to care more about energy efficiency than others.
Yeah, I actually have a ton of ideas that are flooding in right now. The first is we should 100% do a Proto hack day at Presidio Bitcoin. Or even if it's not Proto, I guess the Fleet, the open source software. Ideally, I'd love to see, because I guess what I was getting at is not just with the commercial users, but like, can we see a developer, some DIY tinker that gets the first version of the chip with a solar inverter just to prove it's possible? But I mean, I guess if we already have access to the software, we could have an open source hack day or something and see all kinds of weird and crazy examples. And who knows, maybe some of those ideas are really good.
So definitely on both, but like the fleet software, I think that would come first. And even at the hackathon we held at Presidio Bitcoin in May, one of the participants had a hackathon project which created mining.
Oh, that's right.
Right. Yeah.
Mining management software, right? And added like AI to it and stuff, which is pretty cool. And actually, part of the fleet announcement incorporated AI in the management in Fleet's UI. That might have been inspired by the hackathon project, because the person who
It always comes back to Presidio Bitcoin.
No, I mean, actually, it did, because the person who had that project was a Block employee, so it was shared internally. And even yesterday, right after the announcement, I had several people pinging me, excited to contribute to the open source fleet management software.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Several were frustrated that they didn't know this already, because they've been working with several other developers the past 3 or 4 months on fleet management software components. So I think there's going to be a lot of interest in contributing to that and improving it. And as an open source project, and again, and it's not tied to the proto hardware, I think there'll be good community interest there. So that would make for a great hackathon. And even without availability of the hardware, we could just have Bitmain hardware to test it out.
And there's a comment in chat that says, "Can I use Proto Fleet to control a fleet of Bitaxes?" Lol. Yeah, but I think that's actually what the demo of the hackathon showed.
Exactly. The person commenting, come to our hackathon that we're going to have, because that's exactly the kind of project that I believe right now Fleet only supports Rig and Bitmain, and I think it's like more to come. But that's a perfect hackathon project where someone could add support for Bitaxe to Fleet software.